City, at the City University, and it's another day on planet Earth. It's looks nice outside. It's sunny. It has been a bit tropical here in New York, and the city is somehow trying to find a way to survive this incredible crisis with 1 million jobs lost. Now restaurants closing, businesses closing, but people sitting outside on the streets in 1, even 2 rows, and trying to cope with what most probably might be the most significant experience we have in our lifetime when it comes to a catastrophe. The administration here in the US that has been failing us so terribly, all of a sudden might even think that's okay to wear a mask, even though the president still refuses to wear one. So, and he said it might get worse before it gets better. So there seems to be a little bit more of a recognition of a reality, but it just shows you how bad the situation really is. There's still lots of unrest on the streets for very good reasons. And unfortunately, the forces of this Homeland Security, someone said, wrote an article, it's a fascism made for TV, so people can see it. This supporter base. It is a very, very concerning developments, and that idea of perhaps we are in the twilight of a democracy, and that the authoritarian states and the leaders are slowly, inch by inch taking over, is more a reality than we ever might have thought. But of course, we do hope that this is temporary, and it will actually this moment be part of a change. As always, we talk to theater artists from around the world, theater artists who are in the present. That's what they do. They anticipate the future, as Rancière says, who actually will join us, Jacques Rancière, next Monday, the French philosopher. He and these artists are a part of change. They're on the right side of history, the right side of social justice, the right side on that complex fight for freedom and for liberties, and we should listen to them. We should have listened to them always, and they have insights and create meaning that really are of significance and might be of importance, not only for us as individuals, but also for the communities we are in, and for the cities and states we are in, but also as an idea how to create our lives, how to learn from them, to imitate, or to see what they do and the values they have. With us today, we have a great contemporary theater artist, and it is someone from a country that has contributed so much to the history of theater and to contemporary theater. It's France, and with us is Philippe Caine. And Philippe, thank you for joining us. I can only imagine how busy you are, how much you do, how much you work. And let me tell you guys a little bit about Philippe. He was born in 1970, and he actually studied visual arts, as many great theater artists did. For over 10 years, he designed sets for theater, opera, and exhibitions. And he created a company, the Vivarium Studio Company, and directed his first show about just the act of falling down and getting up, taking off, idea of steps, of moving. And he hunts, he writes in his biography, the marvelous, the tiny, and pushes to the extreme experiences of our daily lives, as well as the relationship between mankind and nature. And if you saw his show, The Night of the Moles at NYU Kerbal, the Skirball, you might have caught a little bit of what this all is about. He collected insects as a child and now works and studies small communities under his microscope. And he thinks of theater as an ecosystem in which he immerses his actors. He did many shows and works. And since 2014, he is the co-director of Nanterre-Amandier, the National Dramatic Center in France. This is a very significant place. These centers, anyway, they are all over France, which is a wonderful decentralized system. But of course, Nanterre-Amandier, because of Patrice Chéreau and Coltès, it has a legend around it. It's a significant place. He went to great festivals, Kunstern, he worked at the Munich Kammerspiele, the Staatsoper unter den Linden, and he's been working for the Wiener Festwochen Theater Basel, and as we also know, for our friends in Poland who also were part of the talk here of Tia Varsova. So Philippe, thank you for joining us, taking your time. And with us also is Amanda Gunn, who is a theater artist, a PhD candidate at Harvard University of the TDM program, the Theater Dance Media. And she again will help us to translate if the moment comes and it is not necessary. Philippe, welcome. Where are you and what time is it?
Hello, everybody. I will have maybe Amanda for translate sometimes because my English is not so good, but I'm in Paris and it's around 6 o'clock.
So, is theater or at your home?
I'm at home in under the roof, and I finish a week of rehearsals with Meg Stewart, the choreographer, because I work now with Meg for a new piece as a set designer, and we have rehearsals in Paris in my theater in Nanterre, because with the corona, with the COVID, Meg cannot work in Ruhr Triennale, so the show is cancelled in Ruhr Triennale, and we organize a lot of things for postpone the premiere in November in Paris.
Mm-hmm. Say again, I didn't catch the artist who you worked with.
Meg Stewart.
Oh, Meg Stewart.
Yeah. Sorry, my accent. She's
Meg Stewart.
Yeah, Meg Stewart. Thank you.
Voilà. And so you can rehearse in France. Theaters have started. What's going on? Tell us a little bit.
Yeah, I think the situation is more calm since end of May, so we can work in theaters for prepare for rehearsals, for build a set, and it's not with the complete team because also it's holidays, but it's not only Corona. it's so. The situation is I mean, we can prepare the shows but the of course with audiences it's complicated. It will be possible in September with full audience normally, they say, the government now.
Really? In December?
Yeah. I mean, normally in September we can open seasons and audience. If they put mask, it seems possible to have people and to have full audience.
Mm-hmm.
That's the situation, but it was of course chaotic, and we have a lot of independent companies in France. You know, it's also the system with intermittent du spectacle. It's a social system, and of course it's very, very sad, the situation about festivals and everything, and I don't know what can happen in few months after this crisis.
Mm-hmm. Tell us a bit about the rehearsals. Does everybody wear masks? Do people do a test every morning? How does it? How do you make sure that no one gets hurt?
Yeah, I forgot this question, but yes, no, it's strange. People don't need put mask on stage, of course, because it's too difficult for dancers and actors. It's quite relaxed, I won't say, since 1 month. Of course, we take care. We clean a lot the theaters, but in Paris, for example, you need to put the mask in a subway, in shops, but not in theater. If we work I mean, we don't receive audience, so it's just the conditions are okay for prepare shows. And I think it's more relaxed than Germany, because some theaters you cannot work, you cannot have more than 10 people in a space.
Yeah.
But in France, it's the paradox. Comment tu dis, le paradoxe?
Paradox?
Because we had this very strict March, April, and May with the attestas documents for go out 1 hour, blah blah blah, and now it's Latino country, so it's a mix of two systems, very strict with a very control country and hard situation March, April, but now it's a bit Latino part.
So it really meant I remember you had to print out a form in your home, in your computer, send it, sign it, fill it out, carry it with you in France to go on the street. Yeah. If you were caught on a bicycle, you would get a fine. Even in the evening, you were really strict. And now...
It was really strange to inscribe the reason why you are out, because we had this paper and we had just the possibility with 10 good reasons why we are out. Of course, for food, for visit people who need. But I mean, if you say, I need go out for be inspiring by the situation or visit my theater, it was absurd and a bit more complicated to.
And I heard
maybe I can speak in French because it's
maybe French is better. Also because of the sound. Because of the sound, it might help.
Okay.
I heard that people in France would meet up at 11:45 in a supermarket next to the tomatoes, and so they had a moment to officially meet because you couldn't go out.
Yeah.
My question is, how was it?
We had a lot of meetings with friends. The best place for visit friends was the supermarket. So j'ai eu plein de. Si on voulait proposer de voir des amis, on se donnait rendez-vous au supermarché pour discuter. Et c'était une situation possible.
The supermarket was the best place to go. I had a lot of meeting up with friends. It was like the meeting point because everyone was allowed to go there.
So Philippe, that time of confinement, that time of lockdown when you couldn't go out, how did you experience it personally? French.
Je pense, évidemment, comme tout le monde et beaucoup sur cette planète, c'était une sorte de sidération, une sorte les premières semaines, évidemment, un grand choc d'entendre la situation et le confinement. Mais je pense que c'est pas propre à la France, ça a été partout comme ça.
So obviously, like every place, everywhere on the planet, it was a stunning effect at first. In France, everyone was shocked, but it wasn't only us, it was everyone everywhere, really, when we learned what the situation was and what it looked like it was going to be.
C'était évidemment complètement incroyable qu'en quelques heures, un pays en complet, des pays, des États arrivent à lancer ce confinement, et ça semblait plus irréel que certains films de science-fiction.
It was unbelievable to imagine that in the space of a few hours, an entire country, many countries, whole nation states could put in place these kinds of measures. It was seemed almost unreal, like a science fiction.
Et évidemment, après ce choc, on pourrait dire les premières tentatives de réorganiser ses pratiques, son travail, et pour ce qui concerne nos métiers, constater toutes les annulations et essayer de reconstruire un petit peu un futur.
So then after the initial shock in the first weeks, there were the first attempts at trying to reorganize work life, especially for people in our industry, all of the cancellations, and then how to possibly get back to work with new means of doing things.
Et aussi, bien sûr, dans mon rôle de directeur de théâtre, en plus d'être artiste, d'essayer d'organiser et le soutien au spectacle qui était annulé, et d'essayer de reporter, de prendre soin des artistes avec lesquels on travaille.
And then also in my role as the director of the theater, not only as an artist, to try to take stock of how to support all of the shows that were canceled, how to put them forward to a later date, or to really look after the people involved and in those works of art.
Et beaucoup de solidarité entre les collègues de théâtre qui s'occupent de théâtre public, de prendre des décisions, de financer ou de soulager financièrement les compagnies et les artistes impactés.
And lots of solidarity with my colleagues who run public theaters in terms of trying to finance and provide financial support for those who were impacted by the crisis.
Yeah.
Where were you at the moment when it happened? What were you working on?
I was in Brazil. I was in São Paulo with Femme Fatale, my new piece, my new show. It was amazing. The contrast in São Paulo, because the situation was quite unclear. And we heard about France. We saw some media who say maybe they will close borders, maybe they will organize how to stay at home, but was totally abstract. And we were on stage around the 15th March in the frame of the São Paulo Festival. And it was in few hours amazing. And the show is this show I created last year for 5 scarecrows. So it's a show about the end of the world, I won't say, post-human a bit, and these 5 scarecrows talk a lot about OGM and pesticide and how the world is, the human world disappear because humans didn't take care about what we eat, what we drink, and what bad things are in the air. So it was quite strange, the mix with fiction and reality. And we had a plane after the show. And I arrived in Paris, but it was confinement. So I didn't understand well what happened. And I had the first months in this space. You see now the small studio. But completely knocked down. KO? Ouais.
Knocked out.
Knocked out. Yeah, and I tried to escape in April in Germany for visit also my friend, and I took a plane. I bought a ticket for Germany, but the police in Germany, when I arrived in Munich, I had 5 minutes in Munich because the police put me again in a plane for come back in my country. And they told me the theater is not a good reason for take a plane and work. It's only policemen and if you work for hospital, you have a, and it was really funny. It was really not funny, but it hurt me a lot. And I stay at home for 2 weeks, a bit like, okay, I had this experience. Theater is not so important, they say, the police of borders. Of course, it's not so important, but it was a strange dialogue with the...
Yeah, it's incredible. We heard, I think, from Tiago Rodrigues from Portugal and Milo Rao that they all were...
We were with Tiago in the same festival.
Yeah,
the same festival with Tiago.
Yeah, and he was in the rainforests and the Amazons to rehearse his Antigone. Amanda, if you could ask Philippe, you talked about post-human theater. Tell us a little bit. It almost seems like you anticipated that moment.
Oui, je pense dans mes spectacles, c'est assez particulier. Ça fait une quinzaine d'années que j'essaye de développer des thèmes, oui, qui pourraient parler un petit peu de post-humain ou en tout cas du constat de la catastrophe. Et c'est vrai que c'est des thématiques depuis 15 ans, de questions sur comment s'envoler, comment accepter les drames écologiques, comment inventer des nouveaux mondes qui sont souvent les lignes thématiques en effet des spectacles.
So for about the last 15 years, it's been quite a particular set of themes in my work, and something that one could maybe classify as post-human, or at least the awareness of the idea of a catastrophe, and then how to fly away, or how to create a new world.
Et j'ai l'impression que j'utilise la scène de théâtre, évidemment pas du tout pour montrer des grands drames entre les humains. Il n'y a pas de conflit dans mon théâtre sur scène. C'est plutôt justement des humains sidérés de ce qui se passe, absolument dans un drôle d'état des menaces que nous cessons d'énumérer sur cette planète. Donc c'est plutôt un théâtre de purgatoire, un théâtre où en tout cas on serait dans l'attente et une mise en scène de communautés humaines très conscientes des problèmes, mais qui sont aussi en état de hébétude face à ce qui se passe.
So in my theater, I use the stage not as a place for representing great dramas between humans. There's no conflict in my theater, but what I try to stage are humans in a state of being stunned, trying to understand and make sense of what has happened and what to do next.
Et c'est pour ça que c'est vrai qu'on parle très souvent d'un théâtre de Vivarium Studio qui met en scène des communautés, qui met en scène la bienveillance, l'amitié.
When people talk about Vivarium, they talk frequently about a staging of human community, of people well-meaning, of friendship.
Et je crois qu'en fait, si je regarde tous les spectacles que j'ai créés, c'est bien souvent des communautés d'artistes qui sont mis en scène. Même si c'est des taupes, ce sont des taupes artistes dans la nuit des taupes.
So when I think about all of the shows that I've created, often it is in fact communities and communities of artists that I'm putting on stage. So even if they're moles, they're artist moles in a community of moles.
I think it's the same subject since 15 years now.
Yeah, I think your theater decentralizes in a way that human point of view, that they are the center of planet Earth, but that actually that we coexist with plants and animals. You have many plants and animals. Where does it come from? Why did you focus this since so early on in your work?
Je pense que c'est très important de travailler sur la réconciliation des espèces, d'essayer d'expérimenter en effet dans l'art, puisque c'est mon métier, d'autres chemins qui permettraient de mettre à la même valeur un comédien et une plante, ou un comédien et un animal sur scène, ou en relation avec des matériaux. Et je pense qu'on rentre dans un monde où la raison d'être doit être multispécifique. Et ce n'est pas une histoire de race, c'est carrément une histoire de relation entre des humains et des non-humains.
So I think it's extremely important to try to work for reconciliation between species. And so I experiment with art, because that's my medium, with other ways of working, so that you could put an actor on the same plane as a plant, or a physical material with living material. And so that these it's not a question anymore of races, but really of trying to reconcile the human with the non-human.
Je pense c'est aussi un chemin possible au théâtre d'inventer évidemment des mondes possibles artificiels, mais qui parfois peuvent résonner plus acceptables que le vrai monde dans lequel on accepte des humains qui nous guident, et parfois extrêmement mal.
So it's a possibility of theater to invent possible worlds that can then be created and brought to life, which resonate as more acceptable and more desirable than the ones that have been realized thus far by, and the ones that are offered to us by the humans that guide us and often guide us poorly.
Il est possible, je pense, dans mes spectacles, d'imaginer qu'une plante devienne un jour président d'un pays, ou un caillou pourrait s'exprimer et faire aussi du théâtre dans quelques années.
So in my shows, it's possible to imagine that a plant might become a head of state, or a stone could start to express itself and perform theater in a few years.
Maybe tell us a bit about Femme Fatale, that play Rio in Brazil.
Oui, Femme Fatale, c'est vraiment une fable, comme toujours, que j'écris avec les acteurs, qui s'inventent en répétant. C'est très important, le processus de travail dans l'écriture théâtrale. Et ces 5 épouvantails qui sont désemparés puisqu'ils n'ont plus de travail. Puisque si les oiseaux disparaissent de la terre, ça, dans la chaîne de réaction, ce sont des épouvantails au chômage, en fait, qui sont mis en scène. Si je résume très rapidement pour la traduction magnifique de Amanda.
Je fais de mon mieux. So it was a play that was written in collaboration. That's very important, in collaboration with the actors. So through a rehearsal process, kind of fable, and that's an important way that we have of working. And the basic premise is that it's 5 scarecrows who are out of work and don't know what to do, because with no more birds on the earth, they are all out of job.
C'est toute une chaîne. Si les sols sont contaminés, il n'y a plus de plantes, d'insectes, donc il n'y a plus d'oiseaux, donc il n'y a plus d'épouvantails, donc il y a éventuellement plus de
It's a set of chain reactions. If the earth is contaminated, then there are no more insects. If there are no more insects, there are no more birds. If there are no more birds, then there are no more scarecrows, and then no more.
J'avais envie de parler. Je cherchais en fait une figure un peu nostalgique qui pourrait parler des humains. Donc l'épouvantail, c'est aussi un personnage tellement humain, presque un peu comme une marionnette ou un clown. Et ça m'apporte dans la pièce une distance pour parler de choses un peu tragiques qui se passent sur la Terre et des pesticides et autres problèmes du sol.
So I was looking for a somewhat nostalgic figure through which to speak about the human, and the scarecrow seemed to me like a character that had such human qualities. So it allowed for a certain kind of distance in order to talk about problems which are very real with the earth.
Dans la pièce, on voit des images sur Internet. J'espère un jour jouer aux États-Unis, mais ils sont aussi comme des zombies, ils ont des masques, ils sont abîmés. L'épouvantail, c'est une figure un peu fracassée, c'est un peu des gens aux marges de la société. Ça rappelle aussi des gens dans la rue ou des figures un peu rejetées. Et c'était aussi important pour moi de passer une étape, et ça aborde presque une question du clown en travaillant avec des épouvantails.
So in the play, there are images of that are shown that are of almost zombie-like, disfigured, fractured. The scarecrows, there's an aspect that is very much sort of like margins, figures who are on the margins of society, and who images that recall other images that we might see of real people who are on the fringes. So there, the figure of the scarecrow is also very linked to the idea of a clown, with the social resonance that could have.
Et c'est presque ma pièce la plus optimiste, puisqu'ils ont quand même un grand projet dans Femme Fatale, qui est de collecter les belles choses qui restent de l'humanité, un peu comme une arche de Noé. Et donc, ils ont un projet de radio où ils collectent les sons de la nature, les choses qu'il faudrait pouvoir garder pour un autre monde ou une autre planète. Et dans Femme Fatale, ils ont en fait un projet qui s'appelle le X Project ou le X Project. Et il y a une dimension là-dedans qui est beaucoup plus utopique ou un vrai projet pour sauver une partie de l'humanité.
So it is, however, the most optimistic of my plays because the Scarecrows have a project. They have a sort of radio project by which they're going to collect all the sounds of nature, like a sort of auditory Noah's Ark, and bring together these pieces of life on Earth that are worth saving. So in that sense, it's a more utopian vision because it means that there are things worth saving and we might be capable of it.
How concerned are you for planet Earth?
Concerne dans le sens... pardon.
Inquiétude.
Ouais, c'est ça. I'm always concerned. I mean, I do theater because I have no other idea. I mean, I'm super worried about the planet. That's why I try to be artist because I don't know other ways for search how the world can work. And in art, you can try, you can test, you can échouer.
Fail.
On peut rater, on peut recommencer, on peut essayer des hypothèses d'une planète acceptable. Et enfin, je veux dire, on peut essayer une hypothèse dans son travail, mais donc c'est pour ça que je pense que l'art est beaucoup plus indispensable de nos vies, parce qu'il faut absolument qu'on puisse tester des nouveaux territoires, inventer des nouveaux mondes acceptables et possibles.
So in art, you have the possibility to try, to fail, to try again, so to actually test a hypothesis. And so in that sense, I think that art is absolutely indispensable to our lives because it allows the attempt to imagine a new world and to create a new possible world.
Il y a beaucoup de formules qui rappellent que même si on reparle encore de ce Covid, l'humain a toujours dû vivre avec des virus et des microbes et des bactéries. C'est pas une surprise que des virus peuvent arriver et calmer la planète ou la stopper quelques mois. C'est juste une bande-annonce pour des choses beaucoup plus graves et des choses que les humains détruisent qui vont faire arriver des nouvelles catastrophes, bien pires que ce corona qui circule de postillon en postillon.
So it's important to remember that this is not the first time that there has been a virus, that throughout the history of humanity, we have been confronted with bacteria and viruses. They've been among us and they have had the capacity to stop the course of human existence. So that really this is just like a trailer for many worse catastrophes to come. And that if we destroy certain things, we won't be able to rebuild them. And so these things that have always been around can continue.
Le Covid, c'est un virus, mais la pandémie, c'est le capitalisme, comme disent certains.
As some have said, COVID is a virus, but the pandemic is capitalism.
What do you think about the situation we are in now, the COVID moment? What do you think?
We are between something. How can I explain? C'est difficile. J'ai l'impression qu'on n'est pas encore réalisé ce qui s'est passé. Maintenant, on est dans un moment, pour beaucoup de pays, pas tous, on est dans un moment d'attente. On a eu le sentiment qu'on nous redonnait des libertés individuelles. On a le droit de sortir. Certains partent en vacances. On a stabilisé des mesures d'urgence qui ont soulagé des populations peut-être plus fragiles. Mais tout ça est très précaire. Je me sens dans un moment d'attente. Je ne sais pas trop comment expliquer ça, mais il y a un suspense.
there's a suspense. I feel like I'm in a waiting period that perhaps we haven't fully taken the measure of what's happened. That in some countries, not all, there's a sense that we're being given back some of our individual liberties. We can go out, we can go on vacation. There are security measures that have been put into place. There are some measures that have, to some extent, helped out some of the vulnerable populations, but it all feels very precarious, and that in a sense we're all waiting for what's going to happen.
Et les questions qui se sont déroulées, je peux parler surtout de la situation en France, peut-être pour pas faire de grandes théories sur la planète. Et notamment sur l'art ou sur l'éducation ou sur les services publics de la santé, des choses qui étaient déjà présentes en France, qui étaient extrêmement fragiles, des situations plus globalement des services publics qui ont été mis à rude épreuve ces quelques mois. Donc je suis pas surpris de ce que le virus déclenche comme thématique très inquiétante sur la question de l'état des services publics et du coup notamment de la culture en France ou de l'éducation. Je me répète là, mais ou des hôpitaux qui ont été quelques mois avant l'objet de grandes manifestations pour défendre les hôpitaux et les moyens donnés à la santé. Donc ce virus même est un révélateur de ce qui était déjà un dysfonctionnement terrible.
So the virus is really just revealing a set of circumstances that were already dysfunctional. Speaking only of France, so as not to do grand theories about everywhere on the planet, but in terms of the issues that it raised in terms of art, of education, of health services, of sort of public services more generally, were already fragile before the pandemic happened. And so it put a number of these fragile services to the test. And to come back to the question of health services, there had already been, before the pandemic, protests to try to get greater assistance for health services in France. So the fact of the extremely disturbing events that the pandemic has kicked off really only further uncovered the extent to which those public services were dysfunctional. And so it raises a lot of disquieting questions about the future of art, education, of culture, and of all public services in France.
Do you think things will change in France? Will there be serious changes?
I don't know. I mean, it's clear we had some election a few days ago, few weeks. Some major change in France. We have now more ecological mayors in France. But I don't know. It needs time now to observe if this government can realize and how deep we can change some things. I don't know. It seems urgent. Comment dire, des sparadraps ou des pansements, quelque chose de rapide. Il a été décidé des choses rapidement, mais maintenant on doit travailler.
What happened?
C'est pas lié au corona, c'est que ces mesures dites d'urgence, et j'aime pas ce mot mesures d'urgence, elles étaient nécessaires, mais elles cachent ce qu'il faut vraiment travailler plus durablement.
The emergency measures, in his opinion, they're kind of like band-aids. That all they were really doing, they were necessary at the time perhaps, but all they're really doing is covering over deeper and more significant issues that need to be addressed.
Et même les questions de l'éducation des enfants et l'éducation publique, c'est très difficile, les moyens qui sont donnés aux enseignants, au monde des professeurs. Et le corona a été presque cynique ou ironique en tout cas, puisque l'école n'est pas juste un lieu pour faire de la garderie, pour occuper les parents, aller travailler et gagner de l'argent. C'est un endroit d'éducation. Et là, on a un tout petit peu confondu dans ce moment d'urgence. Donc, j'espère que des choses qui devaient être changées dans notre société française ou renforcées vont pouvoir continuer dans le bon sens. Je ne suis pas très optimiste.
No. In terms of teaching children or of public education, the very few means were given to teachers in order to continue to do their work. The structures that were put in place that were considered urgent emergency measures were confusing the idea of what a school is meant to be, that it's not just a type of childcare service where you put children so that parents can go to work. It's supposed to be a place of education. And so there needs to be a reevaluation of the investment in that in particular to see if the actual goals can be returned to and then strengthened. But I'm not very optimistic.
Sur la culture et l'art, les propos de notre président de la République étaient extrêmement arrogants, je dirais, et absolument déplacés. L'art n'est pas seulement une animation pour les populations, c'est plus profond parfois. Donc, on a été invités, vous avez peut-être vu ça dans les médias, à se réinventer. On a demandé aux artistes de nous réinventer, président Macron, mais c'est des choses qui sont extrêmement naïves, en tout cas qu'on peut pas, ça pourra pas suffire. Hein. C'est beaucoup plus sérieux l'art.
So, in terms of art and culture, the words that were expressed by the president were arrogant and off base in the sense that he described cultural activity as a sort of purely entertainment for the population, and so asked quite naively, artists to reinvent themselves as though it were that simple. But the matter of art, it goes much deeper, and art is a much more serious practice than that.
En fait, pour aller plus loin dans la question de Franck, je dirais, je suis très curieux de ce que les artistes vont avoir ressenti comme inspiration après ces mois absolument chaotiques, et peut-être qu'ils ne sont pas terminés. Donc, quelle incidence dans le travail des artistes, des auteurs, des musiciens, des poètes, comment on va être, je dirais, obligatoirement inspiré. Je ne dis pas ça que dans le positif. Que ce mouvement de covidisme presque, comme un mouvement, qu'est-ce qui va se passer? Comment l'art va être nourri de ce drame ou ce problème qu'on a traversé et qui va continuer sans doute. Ça, je suis curieux.
So to go perhaps deeper into your question, Franck, I'm curious about how artists are going to be inspired, and not only in the positive sense, by this period that we have lived and are going to live in the coming months. How poets, musicians, artists of all kinds are going to be nourished by what they have felt, what they have discovered, and how that's going to, one maybe could almost talk of a movement, COVIDism, that may come up when we can really discern what the impacts of this experience will be in the works of all kinds of artists. So I'm curious about that.
Je parle de ça, pardon, en premier, parce que finalement, les conditions économiques et le désastre économique, bien sûr aussi est une question, mais je voulais dire par là juste la curiosité avec laquelle l'art va prendre en compte tout ce qu'on a traversé. Voilà. Mais bien sûr qu'il y a une dimension économique, de frontières également, où les marchandises culturelles ne vont pas circuler de la même façon. Donc, par exemple, nous qui faisons un métier de tournée de spectacle, ça aura forcément un impact. Ça l'a déjà. C'est déjà un impact sur nos métiers.
So I speak about that because it is a curiosity, and the other problems are to some extent obvious. The economic impact is severe. The fact of all of the, for us, we do, we do tours. There's all kinds of cultural products that aren't going to circulate. So those negative effects are already happening and will continue to happen. But I am curious about the way it will impact the content of future creations.
For you as an artist, you said, I am curious how artists feel and what they discovered and how it will change. What did you feel? What did you discover? Do you think your work will change?
Me not. Me not, because I work always about problems and catastrophe and ecological menace. So no, it's, for me, it's clear I will continue my way. Also the question about maybe more in science fiction, I have the feeling. I don't know why. I'm next season. I was also on the way for this new piece in Basel. The title is Cosmic Drama. So I will write. Maybe I will continue my way, but maybe this future piece will be more really after the end of the world in 200 years. So, but it's not new for me. I have just the feeling it's make me sure about what can I do on stage and to put more questions. And I'm also curious. I had time for read more maybe during COVID about more problems, more catastrophe. I was not specialist about permafrost or this next problem, sure. Maybe a virus from mammoth or from cavemen, I don't know. For be funny, I want to say it's inspiring to read more problems. Can be a big subject for my next show, I'm sure. But now the question is more economical. If I cannot go on tour, and I mean, I have chance. I have many partners from festivals and all over the world. And sure, if it's more complicated to move with one show, not for ecological reason and planes and blah blah blah, but if it's clearly borders are closed again with COVID, and this part sure will change my work. In terms of experience, and because it's a big chance to go on tour with the same show, and it's je voudrais dire ça, c'est vraiment presque une raison écologique d'essayer de défendre un répertoire de spectacles. Moi, j'ai tourné encore La Mélancolie des Dragons, c'est un show qui a été créé il y a plus de 12 ans, et c'était aussi des raisons importante, je crois, pour nous artistes qui inventons des spectacles. On appelle des écritures de plateau. Je crois qu'on a essayé de jouer le plus longtemps possible nos spectacles. Et ça ne peut se faire qu'à condition d'avoir des territoires étendus et des possibilités aussi dans les autres pays. Donc ça, cette question-là, elle est vraiment un suspense, et on est très en attente de ce qui va advenir.
So in terms of the theatrical ecosystem, there's almost an ecological imperative for shows to tour, for artists to do a type of playwriting, which is on the stage through rehearsal. In order for those things to survive, they need to have as long a life as possible, and that requires the largest possible territory on which they can be played. And so if because of the situation or other developing situations, those borders become restricted, not sure what's going to happen for the life of those types of pieces.
C'est drôle, je pense à une anecdote, mais c'est la première fois avec le moment qu'on traverse que moi j'édite pas de texte. Les spectacles sont absolument, enfin l'écriture et le langage des mots sont indissociables pour moi des matériaux, de la musique, de la scénographie, de ce que les acteurs chaque soir en interprètent. C'est la première fois que je me pose la question, est-ce que je vais éditer le texte de Femme Fatale pour le diffuser autrement que le propre show. Voilà, par exemple, c'est une question nouvelle pour moi.
So this is a question that's being posed for me for the first time. So I don't publish any of my works. For me, the words that actors speak on any given night are indissociable from music, from lighting, from space, from other elements. And so it never occurred to me that they should be published or fixed. And this is the first time. So Femme Fatale, the piece that we were doing when this hit, is the first time I'm asking myself the question of should I publish a written text?
Yeah. In Nanterre, how does the audience connect to your work? In America, of course, the theater is highly commercial entertainment. You go theater before or after a dinner, and in the majority, not of course the theater we like and we are close to, but the big American theater system. So how are audiences in Nanterre connecting to your work?
We have this chance. We have a public money for support the programmation. So we for example, Nanterre, you pay the ticket 10 euros. 10 euros, it's quite
$8.
accessible. Yeah, $8. It's very accessible, and we have a lot of students and young people because it's a big question how you can deal when you want. When you are young, or maybe pour les gens plus modestes, and that's clear decision. For example, in Nanterre, so on reçoit pas beaucoup de la billetterie du spectacle n'est pas une source de financement importante. Donc on a fait d'autres choix pour avoir un public aussi qui se renouvelle.
So in order to make things accessible to people of modest means, to students, and for it to have as much circulation of people into the theater as possible, the box office at Nanterre, the box office revenue is not a major source of funding, and they have accepted that and found other ways of working such that they do not depend on box office receipts.
On est aussi situé dans une banlieue ouest de Paris, près de la plus grande faculté de France à Nanterre, université. Et c'était une mission publique de tenir un théâtre et d'essayer d'adapter les conditions, et avec une population aussi locale qui sont plutôt des bas salaires. Et c'était important, et le public depuis 7 ans a été complètement renouvelé. Il y a plus que 50% du public à moins de 30 ans.
So also the theater is located in the western outskirts of Paris, in a neighborhood that is predominantly working class, but where there's one of the largest university sites as well, Nanterre. And so in the last 7 years, there's been really a push to completely overhaul the accessibility of the theater to publics. And so now about 50% of the audience is people under 30.
Et la ligne artistique était très clairement sur les auteurs de spectacles. Et ça veut dire au sens large. Ça a été parfois des chorégraphes, parfois des cinéastes. Mais pour moi, c'était, et je termine d'ailleurs cette année, c'était 7 ans pour un peu rendre hommage à cette scène qui s'invente, qui s'écrit sur le plateau. Donc de Milo Ra à Suzanne Kennedy, en passant par Joël Pomera ou même Claude Régis, qui parfois retravaille tellement les textes que ça en devient des œuvres personnelles. Ça a été la ligne artistique en fait du théâtre de toutes les saisons.
So the directive for the past 7 years, the artistic directive for the past 7 years, it's now my last year, has really been a connection with authors. And I mean that in the broadest sense, so choreographers, other forms, but authors who were writing on the stage or as part of a live process, where it, and you referenced, let's say, Suzanne Kennedy, Milo Rau, Joël Pomeran, Claude Régis. So these are artists who, who are not just writing for the stage, but seeing writing as part of a scenic process. And so that's been the artistic direction of the theater in the past 7 years.
So 7 years in Nanterre. Where will you go afterwards? And this time now, did it make you think of how to produce your work in a different way?
I will come back in an independent company with Vivarium Studio. So I switch on the company again, and let's see. But I won't go. So I don't search a new space like a director. I will just start. I have many projects, but like artist, not. I mean, for now, because it was a strong experience, 7 years in Nanterre-Amandier. And I'm curious to observe the world and the politicians, but from the position, the artist position, and not the intendant. Maybe just for a few months, because I like this mission to be also curator or programmateur, but let's see. I think it's nice for me to have a break, pause. So I have a project in Basel, like I will create this show, Cosmic Drama. I will work in Poland with TR Warszawa, you mentioned, with the ensemble in 21, and some exhibitions, installation. I have full of many projects, but I will recreate independent conditions.
Here in New York, because of Black Lives Matter movement, there is a strong call that institutions have to change. We have to change as people, but also institutions have to change. And people wonder, do institutions change? Will they? Can they? You came as an artist with unusual ideas to an institution. Were you able to change the institution?
Yeah, I think it's a mission. Sometimes some artists they need to take responsibility. That was the plan in Nanterre to keep the key for a few years of the institution. But yeah, it's necessary to change all the time. I mean, every day. But it need passions and I mean, this situation I don't know in US, but I like this possibility in France to be director and also responsable d'une institution. It's special. It's special, and it's only in theaters, because in visual art or museums you never see artists. But well, big subject, how to change institutions and wake up politicians, and wow, it's but yeah, I try to think about this part and not only my work.
What experiences did you make, or that could be of value for America? What did you learn in that process?
Je pense que j'étais extrêmement... on parle à propos du théâtre de Nanterre, oui. En fait, la plus grande importance, c'était comment on a pu donner les moyens aux artistes de prendre le temps de chercher, d'inventer des spectacles, de jamais prévoir, de jamais supposer ce que l'artiste va créer, et c'est ça qui a constitué une force avec le public. C'était vraiment inventer, essayer de créer un lieu d'expérience où les choses ne sont pas prédéterminées, où le succès des artistes est bien sûr souhaitable, mais où les choses ont le temps de maturer, ont le temps de germer. J'emploierais des vocabulaires des plantes. Et ça, c'est quelque chose qu'il ne faut pas oublier. Parce que ça, ce n'est pas le temps politique. Le temps politique, il veut des résultats, il veut la rapidité. Et la planète la planète est trop rapide, il faut le temps de la germination. Et toutes les plantes ne poussent pas à la même vitesse.
So the most important thing that we tried to find was a means of actually giving artists the time to seek, to experiment, and without having to foresee what was going to happen. And those were the creations that had the most force with an audience. And of course, one wants every show to be successful, but the real crucial piece of it is time. So in the sense that work, in order to be truly experimental, it has to have time to take root and to mature and to grow, and not all plants grow at the same rate. So we're influenced by a perception of time that's coming from the outside. That's political time. Political time wants results. But in fact, what we looked for at Nanterre was how to give artists the means to really germinate and grow work from seed to sapling.
That is a great mission, and in America at the moment is a big call for diversity in ensembles, in playwriting, in directing, but also people behind, people, lighting technicians, producer, costume designer. That there's a call that diversity of a city has to be represented in work, but also by workforce. How is that on the mind of French theaters, and how is it in Nanterre?
Pardon, comme j'ai changé le son parce que j'avais plus de batterie, est-ce que tu peux me répéter la question parce que j'entends moins bien, j'ai mis sur une enceinte.
Oui. Donc, en gros, aux États-Unis, en ce moment, il y a un appel à la diversité, non seulement la représentation dans les fictions théâtrales qui sont présentées, mais aussi pour les techniciens, tout le monde qui est dans la pratique artistique au sein des théâtres. Et donc, il voudrait savoir comment c'est en France. Est-ce qu'il y a ce même appel?
Oui, pardon, j'ai compris, ok. Bah oui, c'est similaire. Enfin, je ne sais pas si ça concerne aussi les milieux des techniciens, mais bien sûr, c'est très important. Ces questions de parité et de représentation homme-femme ou des genres, bien sûr, c'est peut-être quelque chose qui est en route depuis je dirais depuis 3-4 ans. On sent plus de vigilance pour que les saisons, la façon dont les lieux sont dirigés respectent plus une parité. Il y a encore beaucoup de chemin à parcourir. Parce que pour moi, la parité, c'est aussi cette chose dont on parlait un peu, des multi-espèces. Il faudrait aussi que...
So there is some attention being paid. I'm not sure if it extends all the way to the more technical aspects, but certainly for a few years, the idea of equality in general, and more specifically, the idea of male-female equality in terms of representation and in terms of artists being selected for a season, the direction of different theaters, it has been taken into account. There's way further to go. But I would also advance that what interests me is a sense of parity of representation in terms of multiple species as well as multiple types of human beings.
Yeah.
Pour donner un exemple, en France, quand j'ai commencé...
A bit louder. It's not so good to hear. If you can speak a bit louder, or...
Bah oui, parce que j'ai plus mon casque. J'ai
Yeah.
plus le...
Ah, c'est bon.
Vous m'entendez? Oui.
Ouais.
C'était étonnant. Moi, j'ai commencé à faire du théâtre comme metteur en scène il y a 15 ans. À cette époque, les gens qui inventaient des spectacles, on n'appelait pas forcément ça du théâtre. Faire du théâtre, c'était partir d'un texte. Donc les choses ont changé. C'est pas une histoire de parité, ce que je raconte ici, mais c'est aussi quelque chose qui est en train de muter. Aujourd'hui, on parle de créateurs de spectacles et la considération est bien plus importante des gens de spectacle qui inventent des formes.
So 15 years ago, when I started directing, what people who were developing new types of performance, it was said that they weren't doing theater. What it was to be a theater director was to start from a text and then create something. So in terms of the question of parody, for me, I feel like there's a transformation going on where there are a larger range of things that we consider as such, being a creator of performance is a category that did not exist before. So there are transformations that are taking place in terms of the ways people are thinking about forms.
Mm. Yeah. And I think the great contribution, of your work to theater or contemporary theater, like other artists, but especially also in your work, is really to go beyond what we might say of a representation of a diversity of artists from different continental backgrounds, but also to think of plants, of animals. I also know you have robots or moving objects on stage. So it's something that I think is of real importance, a dramaturgy of simultaneous representation of how we experience planet Earth, that we are in an ecosystem, that we are depending on it. And Philippe's a great concern that the human species might fail. And now we learn, perhaps for the first time, that yes, we are endangered too. There is nothing found or another virus come. It could be, as someone wrote that book, a requiem for a species. It could be the very end. And as Latour says, this is perhaps a general rehearsal. If we fail this time, we don't find the right answers to COVID, the next thing that come might be much stronger, and we will not be able to find solutions. So the work of Philippe is of great significance, and to look at it in a philosophical way of a representation of reality, to remind us that we are a part of a sphere of 10 feet or 10 meters below the Earth and 10 meters or 20 above the Earth. That sphere, that critical zone that matters, and that perhaps in the times we live in, as he said, just to write the play, just to interpret a text is no longer good enough. We need to find new ways of acknowledging that reality. What we all have to think about, and COVID, I think, is forcing us to do it. So you have been a pioneer, I think, in a way of creating such forms that make us think, rethink, and reframe and understand the window we look out on. Reality has been already put in by someone, so maybe the window is wrong. We have to look differently and open the walls of our thinking. We are coming closer to an end. So what did inspire you in the time? Were you reading things? Were you seeing things online? Were you listening to music? What inspired you?
C'est une très bonne remarque. D'ailleurs, c'est un bon exemple, Bruno Latour. On travaille beaucoup avec Bruno à Nanterre-Amandier. On a produit aussi des performances de Bruno Latour ces quelques années. C'est de plus en plus évident, en tout cas en France. Il y a une pensée de la philosophie qui rejoint vraiment la pensée des gens de théâtre et de spectacle. Et inversement, c'est-à-dire que depuis quelque temps, Bruno ou des gens comme peut-être Emmanuel Ecochia, que vous connaissez, ou Marielle Massé ou d'autres, sont aussi très inspirés par la façon dont les gens du spectacle vivant travaillent, peut-être par cette capacité d'essayer des choses, de tester, de répéter et d'essayer des hypothèses. Pardon, j'ai fait long pour...
So it's an interesting remark. We work a lot with Bruno Latour in at Nantes and then we've produced performances of with him in the past. And there's a current in France of philosophical thinking and theatrical creation informing one another, and that the capacity to create a hypothesis and to test it is sort of common to both. So that's an area of cross-pollination at the moment.
We had Frédéric with us also. And,
I also saw Frédéric.
Yeah, and I think this is perhaps an expansion in the field, and perhaps also for theater studies, it will be perhaps an engagement that the field is changing as an engagement with philosophy, again, to understand and create a meaning. David Byrne famously said, stop making sense in his famous film, The Music, but there maybe, again, it's also time to make sense, to create meaning and to engage. And I think France, as a theater country, is perhaps here a bit in the avant-garde, due a system that makes that possible. There's a funding for the arts that is not connected to a return of tickets, that there are experiments possible to focus on what is essential. And it is essential, even so Philippe was returned in Munich, and I'm so sorry, I can only imagine Philippe in front of a German policeman who says, no, theater is not essential, go home. So I apologize for that. And of course, you know, it's the virus in there. As a closing remark or question for young artists, maybe artists like Amanda or artists like Philippe, when you started visual design, or others who are now going in the fall to universities where they cannot be in a room, they cannot rehearse, they are in front of computers. What do you say to such young audiences and young artists, and perhaps also to our listeners? What do you say is of importance to focus on?
Bien sûr, en ce moment, il y a plein de gens qui n'ont pas accès à des conditions optimum ou des conditions habituelles de création, des ateliers ou des répétitions menacées. Je pense que de toute façon, l'art, il faut toujours se donner les moyens de sa survie. On a vu, comment dire, l'art doit toujours se réinventer en situation de la vie réelle. Donc, je n'ai pas forcément envie de donner des conseils aux jeunes artistes, mais c'est évident, il faut se réinventer. C'est terrible ces semaines qu'on a traversées. Il y a eu aussi beaucoup de gens dans les écoles qui ne se sont pas vus. Il n'y a pas eu de contact humain. Je fais aussi beaucoup d'enseignements à l'école et les gens étaient par Zoom. Bon, cette forme très abstraite de contact social est particulière. Donc, il faut essayer de tenir bon et il y aura sûrement un monde meilleur.
So I'm not sure that there's a specific piece of advice to give. You have to hold on. But art always has to, you know, give itself the means of surviving. But it's not easy. These past weeks have been extremely difficult, and the type of contact that especially that young people are used to having, the human contact involved in teaching. As someone who does a lot of teaching, I realize that that Zoom is not. It's a very abstract form of something that's very real. So the only thing to do is to try to keep going and to reinvent if and where possible.
C'est aussi un temps que si ça continue, enfin globalement sur la planète, il va falloir qu'on croie à la recherche, qu'on n'oublie pas que l'art peut prendre parfois du temps à sa maturation. Et dans ces moments-là, la recherche ou l'expérience peut être, j'allais dire, sans forcément des pratiques collectives, mais pourquoi pas, si ça devait durer longtemps, cette interdiction de recevoir du public, ces difficultés à voyager, il faudra réinventer des temps de maturation plus longs, pas forcément produire. Donc, ça peut être une
So if it goes on, if this type of situation does continue, then perhaps we have to develop or strengthen our faith in research. If we're not able to circulate, we're not able to gather, we're not able to necessarily do the same collaborative practices that we're used to, that perhaps we need to see this idea of research and experimentation. It takes time for it to mature. And so it takes that it's not necessarily about producing something, but that this can be a real creative source given the time.
Bien sûr, les situations sont tellement différentes en Europe. Je veux dire, pour le moment, on a encore des opportunités de financement de nos institutions pour la recherche. Je sais que les conditions ne sont pas du tout les mêmes aux États-Unis et pour opposer presque un pays, tout le monde n'a pas la chance d'avoir les conditions de Suisse, qui aide beaucoup la recherche et qui a des conditions extrêmement généreuses de soutien à l'art en général et du coup à la recherche. Mais bon, on adapte. Pardon.
Of course, it depends on the material conditions offered. So here I'm speaking about Europe, which I know is an extremely different case from the United States, where we do luckily still have means of support, institutional support for artistic research, though still not equal to the Swiss, who have extraordinary resources at their disposal for art research and art making. But even in America, perhaps we'll be able to adapt.
Yeah.
Une chose est claire et dramatique, évidemment, c'est qu'après cette expérience de Covid, quelques mois, voire encore l'année prochaine, beaucoup d'artistes ne vivront plus de leur art, je pense. Et du coup, peut-être que c'est une opportunité pour considérer que tout le monde doit faire de l'art, mais il y aura sûrement d'une autre manière. Il faudra pratiquer chez soi, Enfin, moi, c'est ce que j'essaie de dire dans certains spectacles, quand je faisais l'effet de Serge en 2007, c'est il faut que l'art rentre dans nos vies, mais par contre, il y a beaucoup de gens, hélas, qui vont plus pouvoir vivre de l'art.
So one thing has become extremely clear in these few months of COVID, and which will extend into next year, that many people will not be able to make a living from their art any longer. And so there will have to be other ways found of practicing art, doing it in one's home. And it's a point that I have made in others of my work. So L'Effet de Serge, this idea that that art needs to enter our lives, but unfortunately that means, in a sense, that some people who make a living from their art will no longer be able to.
Possible, yes. I think it is a good observation that perhaps our life will be no longer separated from the art or art from life if we find ways to do it for artists. But it's a dangerous situation, a catastrophic situation for so many artists around the world. And so it's great that you are out there and trying to still find forms and new forms to remind us of what is important and of what is essential. So Philippe, really, thank you so much for taking part in our conversation, for taking your time and energy. Tomorrow we will go on at Segal Talks, and we're going to talk to Betty Chamier, a playwright, producer of the Arab American theater community, to hear how does it feel for them and for her as a person and Adelheid Rosen from Amsterdam, who's also a socially engaged artist who's closely connected to the community where she lives in, and she's going to be with Melanie Joseph here from the Foundry Theater. So this will be an interesting, next week will be the end of the July week and perhaps the end of the daily, weekly conversation for 4 months. The Siegel Center has now had every day in the week a conversation. So perhaps in August will be a little break and we reconsider and think what we will be doing for the fall. Next week we will have Jacques Rancière as a philosopher, and he's telling us about he feels, how he experiences this moment. The great Morgan Jeunesse, the dramaturg and sometimes even agent and the great supporter of the arts in New York City, of artists early on, will be with us. We will hear from Indonesia, and Kitty, and there will be Richard Schechner Friday, who will talk to us about how he sees, again, he will be a returning guest. He sees the moment we are in and his issue he's preparing for TDR, his great theater and drama review. So thank you again, Philippe. Thanks for HowlRound for hosting us. Thanks to the French Cultural Services, Nicole and Laurent, for connecting us to Philippe. And I hope you will be back to New York City with your work and that we will see it. And perhaps also with new eyes, what your contribution is, what you think about that we need to engage and think seriously about artists and animals on the same level as we as human actors. They are all actors. We are in this sphere we live in on this little blue planet, and that your concerns about posthumans are not just theatrical tricks or just artistic little invention. It's something very serious. Comment what you give us about the life, and perhaps with the warning that if we do not change, if we do not rethink the structures we are in, we might one day live in the stages you create, or there will be the animals and the plants, but not us. Amanda, thank you again for translating and for being here for us. This was very important to have you with us. To our audiences, thank you for listening. It is important that Philippe knows that we do care about the work he does. And we also hear, how does a great theater, a little bit on the outskirts of the center from France, but what do they do? What do they experiment in? What do they think is of importance? And we see his aesthetic results, which we saw at the Skirball. So I hope you will be back. And thanks to HowlRound, Vijay, Thea, and everybody, Travis, Siegel Center, Andy, and Sanyang. And I hope, Philippe, one day we will meet, and whether it's in Europe or here. And Amanda, thank you again. And to our audience, stay safe, wear a mask, stay tuned, and really thank you for listening. It means a lot to us. It is actually all for you that we go through all of this to talk, that Philippe joins, Amanda translates, and we host it at a HowlRound for you, the listener, and we hope that it will also change a part of your thinking, and that actions will be taken that help to create new forms that make work what is not working. Thank you all, and see you soon. Bye-bye.